Today I am at the November 24th, 1863 Battle of Lookout Mountain, known as the Battle Above the Clouds. Major General Joseph Hooker's plan to capture Lookout Mountain might have been simple in concept, but it proved tricky to execute. Today I will revisit key areas of that battle. At 3 a.m. on November 24th, General Hooker issued his orders. Brigadier General John Geary was ordered to cross Lookout Creek at a place 2 miles below and assault Lookout Mountain, march down the valley, and sweep every rebel from it. General Hooker advanced his artillery and one brigade of Brigadier General Charles Cruft's 4th Corps towards the face of the Craven's House shelf from the northwest, but he had no intentions of attacking head-on. Brigadier General Peter Osterhaus's men advanced to support and strengthen Cruft's front. To aid in that deception, Union pioneers began to bridge Lookout Creek in two locations. The fog grew denser through the morning, limiting the Confederate view, but sometime between 8 and 9 a.m. they saw either Colonel Charles Wood's brigade of Osterhaus or Colonel William Gross's brigade of Cruft deploying near the destroyed railroad bridge over Lookout Creek. This puzzled the Confederates as they observed the Union movements below. At 8 a.m., General Geary's column moved south through Lookout Valley to this area at Light's Mill, capturing a Confederate picket post. General Geary's men crossed Lookout Creek on a hastily constructed bridge, one regiment at a time. Fog largely concealed this Union activity. As the soldiers crossed, a member of the 149th New York noted that General Geary, standing on the bank, shook hands with the colonel of each regiment and gave him his orders. Geary then climbed the mountain until the head of his column reached the base of the cliff, turning north, facing the general direction of the Craven's house. A little after 9:30 a.m., the bugle sounded forward, and Geary's skirmishers disappeared into the fog and timber. Colonel George Cobham's brigade was on the right, hugging the side of the mountain, with General David Ireland in the center, Colonel Charles Candy on the left, and Brigadier General Walter C. Whitaker in support in the rear. The Yankees had undertaken no easy job, scrambling and climbing over and around ravines, ledges, and boulders on treacherous slopes. General Hooker arranged an impressive array of artillery to scatter the Confederate pickets and cover his advance. About 10 a.m. from this battery redoubt, Captain M. Woodridge opened fire from this position on the Confederate rifle pits at the base of Lookout Mountain, which was very effective. These are the earthworks from his batteries. The Confederate force of 1,500 defending the western slope was commanded by General Wathall. Wathall's men were thinly spread in the defensive line that stretched almost a mile from the palisade to Lookout Creek. The breastworks were made of rock, boulder, dirt, and timber. These piled rocks were remains of some of General Wathall's defense line. When the Yankees arrived at the breastworks about 11 a.m., Ireland and Cobham's encountered Wathall's reserve southwest of the Craven's house. The two Confederate regiments repulsed Ireland's first attempt at assaulting their fieldworks. A second assault succeeded to outflank the Confederates. At the same time, Cruft and Osterhaus's 3,400 troops crossed Lookout Creek and attacked the lower breastworks. The 15-minute battle at the breastworks netted the Yankees 850 Confederate prisoners. Under heavy artillery fire, the remaining Confederates retreated to the Craven's house. Union forces reached Craven's house about 1 p.m., where the heaviest fighting took place. There were 2 cannon battery at the Craven's house, but the Confederates couldn't use them without killing their own men. The Yankees forced the Confederates from the Craven's house, capturing it and the 2 cannon. With reinforcements from the top and the eastern side of the mountain, the Confederates established a battle line about 400 yards behind the Craven's house. This line, which prevented the Yankees from capturing the Summertown Road. The Summertown Road was the only road up the mountain, and it was held. It started raining about 4 p.m. on the 24th, and that night was cold. Wet soldiers on both sides spent the evening shivering and doing their best to stay warm. General Bragg recognized that the important part of the mountain had been lost, where the roads and passageways over the mountain were located, and that Lookout Mountain's value as a Confederate position had largely came to an end. and that night General Bragg orders the mountain to be abandoned. Before daylight on November 25th, not knowing if the rebels had withdrawn, Union volunteers scaled the palisades at Roper's Rock and found the Confederates were gone from the top. The battle above the clouds was over. Near 8 o'clock on the morning of November 25th, Brigadier General Whitaker approached the 8th Kentucky and asked if they could furnish a party to ascend the summit and plant the flag. Thousands of eyes focused on the northern nose of Lookout Mountain. Floating from the pinnacle of Bear Rock was United States national colors. Waves of resounding cheers immediately erupted throughout the Federal line.